Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Dear audience and dear students everywhere, I welcome you back to my program about do we teach effectively. In the previous episodes, we covered approximately 7 points about this topic, about the quality of good teaching in our classrooms so that we can be teaching effectively. Today we are going to add something extra to them, which is the effective use of resources or of the available resources. This embedded beneath it, of course, the use of audiovisuals. So audiovisuals is part of the resources. Let's talk about resources first. What are the resources in your school that you can use them in your classroom? Tell me something about that. Okay, and there are plenty of them. I hope you can write some of them. Please, yes, yes, until you get the microphone, yes.
A library.
A library, good. A library.
Smart boards.
Smart board, yes.
Internet.
The internet, access to the internet, good.
World maps in the classroom.
World map, pictures, posters. Okay, what else?
Flashcards.
Yeah, flashcards, good. What else? Give me others.
Guest speakers.
Guest
trainers.
speakers.
Teaching aids.
Teaching aids, all types of teaching aids, okay. What else? Do you think playground can be considered as a resource? Can we use it? Because that's what we are going to talk about. What else in addition to this? If you have some gardens in the school, we can use them. What else? Labs, even science labs. What else? Field trips, a resource. When we go there, it becomes, yeah. What else? Nobody talked about dictionaries in classrooms. Okay, let's begin with something easy. How would you use a playground as a resource for you in any subject you teach? Now we're not focusing on Islamic. In the subject that you really teach, how can you use the playground as a resource? Challenging. Okay, I'll give you an example. You're teaching a subject like Seerah. You've read that the size of the room of the Prophet ﷺ is such and such, length is such and such, and width is such and such, and you can ask the students to draw or to put some sort of rope on the playground the size of the house of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. So they're using mathematical skills to measure the place of the house of the Prophet ﷺ, so they can get an idea of how huge the house of the Prophet ﷺ. You can also tell them, when you go home, can you measure your room and compare it with the room of the Prophet ﷺ? And you can ask each one of them, how many beds can you put there? What can be put in such a place, right? So they would get an idea of the size of the house of the Prophet ﷺ. Okay, how can you use it differently?
A masajid. Masajid. We
The
can give an
mosque,
example.
the same thing. You can do that. Do you think, does it take a mosque? Does it take more than a mosque? And if it takes a mosque, how many people would be there, do you think? Let them try to count it. This is something very good in mathematical. We say that practical mathematics, as we mentioned earlier.
You could have a battlefield on the ground.
Or battlefield with
different
guns.
Archers there and different.
Okay, very good. You can use it to show as a battlefield. You can draw something here to represent that this is a mountain, this is the well of Badr, this is such a thing. The army was here, and the knights were here, the horses were here, and you can explain it, use it. And a very famous thing, by the way, there is a map you can buy. I'm quite sure you've seen these examples. Huge map, plastic map, perhaps as huge as this. They put it in the playground. They would bring a class, and they would teach geography on it. So you stand on India, I stand on Pakistan, stand in Iran. So they distribute the students here, right, with some pictures in it that this country is special, it has oil, this country has wheat, this country has, and they start making some trading between each other. Okay, I am from Russia. What do you think that I would trade to you in, for example, to Saudi Arabia? And here are some pictures to tell you that you have wheat, you have cotton, you have something like this, you have snow. and you can extend. And they would make some change, and they make some buying and selling. So it can be used in different levels. It's a plastic map. You can buy it. I don't know whether you have seen it here or not. Yes, something very good. They use it in the playgrounds. And in America, I've seen many schools that they draw this. They draw a huge map, and they color it, the students color it, yes, on the ground. So many classrooms can come and use it. Okay, so this is a very good resource, even for language. What is the distance between this and this? What is the capital of this? What is the... So it's a very good resource, okay?
They can also use the ground for exhibitions.
As
Students
exhibition, of course, you can use it in an exhibition, right? Book fair. Perhaps I mentioned something that I've seen one school. They have a special section for crimes, and they ask students to solve the puzzle of the crime. It's a crime scene. They used a yellow ribbon, and somebody or two people are dead. And there are some posters here. Yes, it has some descriptions of the people that are related to this one, and you have to find an answer for this puzzle. You would find students, yes, all the time, whenever they have a break, they run and they try to solve the problem. Who killed whom and why and what's that, based on the limited data that's given to them. And every week they change the seed by another story. So that's exactly what you're saying in a different way. Now you imagine that. Playground is a huge source for you to use if you know how to use it. Now we brought at least 10 or 15 ideas about that. Okay, good. This is the playground. Let's talk about something else. But when you say that, I want you to use it. Tell me, how would you use it in your subject? Be specific now. Okay? Well, this is the playground. Let's talk about the library. Tell me different ways of using the library. Different things that you can use in the library to serve your subject. Of course, reading is one of them. Okay. And when we come to reading, again, I'd like to share one experience that I had. That visited one school, and I found a good teacher who's different from other schools, and he got to train the students to read. He said that I do this every week. I bring the students, and they read, they select a story, and they make a summary of the story. Then I asked him this question: so what's next? What will you do the rest of the year? He said that I will do the same thing. They would read a story, then make a summary, or make a summary, make a summary. I said, that what's next? So it seems that this is the dead end for him. He doesn't have what's next. It's always questions of what is next. I remember the examples we gave in the previous episodes about poetry, when they started doing something different. I said that you have to take them from this level to another level. For example, you take them, instead of making a summary, they try to change the ending of the story. You see what I'm saying? The story had already ended in such a way. You ask the students to change the ending of the story, right? Because changing the ending of the story would require them to make some changes in the story itself. And this is what the purpose. Now, they are creating something. In the exercise that he made, he didn't know that the students are not creative. They are just copying, right, what the author did. So there's no way for them to think here. They are confined by the limits of the author. So he thinks for them, and they do the writing. So this is not creative writing. So now, okay, he said, okay. And then he asked me, what's next? So I was very happy to hear from him, what's next? So I said that if this is the end, how about if we give the students the name of the story or the ending of the story, and we ask them to write a story from scratch. This is a story that ended that this businessman drowned in the sea, for example. And the story has to figure out how did he reach this level. Or to give them the title of the story, The Missing Treasure, and to leave students to write. All students would write different stories, but under the same topic. Do you see what I'm saying? You see the change from here to here to here. So this is how to use a library. This is one example. Tell me, how would you use a library in your subject? Please speak.
give them two books, whichever, and make connected with some ways. Try to connect these two books.
Okay, compare them. Compare them, for example. Tell me what is the difference between this book and what is the approach of this author? What is the approach of this author? Okay, before you think of mentioning the subject, I'll give you a break and we'll come back to discuss and continue. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
Hush, little baby, breathing so calm.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I hope you enjoyed your break. Let's continue talking about the same topic. Okay, I think some hands are raised here. Do you want to mention something about? Yes, mention the subject that you are going to use. Be specific, okay?
The students would be asked to read the tafsir of a particular ayah from various tafasir which are present in the library. Some study Ibn Kasir, some study Tabari, some study Qurtubi, some Jalalain, and then ultimately we come to the discussion part between the students.
That's good. I want you to think of something creative that has not been done before. Yeah. Think of something that you can use the library. Yes?
The library can be used for multi-purpose. It can be used for a small auditorium-like also, because there are chairs, there are tables. At times during the afternoons, we can have quizzes among the students.
Okay.
So we can use it for multi-purpose activities as well. Library.
Okay. More specifics. Group of students would be working together. I give them 50 books and they work together to put them in order. This is level 1. Another group, I would give them another 50 books to put them in order, to make it easy for children or for the teacher who comes to teach, for example, grade 2, they would focus on the second group, and in this way they know the level. Can the students do this? Higher grade students? Yes, they can do this. They can serve other teachers. Just very recently, I visited a school and the students were in the library. Yes. And they were young students, I think grade 2 if I'm not mistaken. And I used to give them the book. I said that, what is the thing that you look for when you take a book from the library? What are you looking for? Say, challenge them. You get into the library and what are you looking for? Is it the colors? Is it the title? Is it the name of the author? Is it, you see what I'm saying? Started to utter. Okay. So we agreed that it is the title is the most important thing. Yes, particularly if the book is colored. It has a cover that's colored. And then after that, the name of the author. Why do we need to learn the name of the author? These questions are challenging for young students. And you go on and on. Okay. Then after that, after you see what is in the cover, what is the first thing that you look in the book? What is it? Is it you open in the middle, you look for pictures, or I was, of course, referring to the table of content, because the table of content, this page would tell you a lot about what is inside. So this is one way of using it with young ones. What else? Ideas? We need ideas. We need ideas. And again, the internet is the mother of ideas because it has all the ideas of human beings there. So you can get millions of ideas how to use the library. Okay?
The library also can be used for comparing or searching words in different dictionaries.
Yes, different dictionaries and how they work. Particularly, by the way, the Arab dictionaries. Do you know anything about Arabic dictionaries? Something unique? Yes?
It has root words.
Good. Oh, it's based on root. There is one dictionary that's so unique in the whole world. I think it has nothing similar to. A dictionary that's called Al-Ain. It's a pronunciation system dictionary. It's based on pronunciation. It doesn't begin with the alphabet, A, B, C, D, right? It begins with the last sound, which is I. Ain is pronounced here. So he put the dictionary according to the pronunciation. Ain, Ha, Kha, and until he came to the B and M. So he had different approaches, right? Totally different from all the dictionaries in the world. It's something very smart, right, by the way. So this is different from other dictionaries. And even among Arab dictionaries, some of them begin by the root, some of them don't begin by the root, so they're different ones. Of course, you take this, you do this with students who are a little bit higher than primary, perhaps. And you can see that the significance of this. For example, if you use this, you can get the answer very quickly. If you use this, you get more details, but you don't get them very quickly. So they would know the characteristics of each dictionary and when to use them. Okay, good. Yes, there's a hand here first.
What we can also do is split up the students in groups, and we can pick up some books which are written by famous scholars.
Yes.
And some of the books, they do not have an introduction of the scholar who's written the book. So we can tell the students to have a brief introduction of the scholar who has written or authored the book, so that that can be added to the book as a reference for the further.
How would they do that? How do you expect them to do this?
They could have used the internet or some other
So
books.
ask them to use the internet
yes.
to get some information and to put this information in a good way to
Yes.
become as an introduction or
For the
of
people who
author
will
of the
come
book.
after them to read.
This is very good. You can do this in classroom or in the library. You can get some books from the library and you do this if you have access to the internet. And here, yes,
Even the thesaurus, how to use a thesaurus.
yes, the same thing that applies to thesaurus, yes.
We can teach the children how to organize themselves by asking them to organize the books in the cupboards.
Tafsir, or are we talking about
Library.
science books? What are we talking
No, cleaning the cupboard and rearranging the books.
Or cleaning the cover. There's something that reminded me of the example that I mentioned before. You can use, right, the playground, if we go back a little bit, to teach the children cleanliness. If you take, as I mentioned in one school, that it's the principal and the teachers and all the students in the morning do the cleaning of the playground every day. And they found that sometimes they don't find anything to clean because the students know that if they have something dirty, they have to clean it tomorrow. So they learned how to discipline themselves. So this is another way of disciplining students. Okay, so this is good use of this resource. Let's move to another resource. Tell me, when do you use the, let's say, the data show projector versus the overhead projector? One problem is that when we say the effective use of something, when you use a data show projector as an overhead projector, you're losing a lot of money because an overhead projector costs you, let's say, $150, and the data show projector may cost you $2,000 US. Just an example. So when you use the data show projector just to enlarge a text or just to enlarge a picture, this is not effective use. When you use data show projector, what would you use it for? When do you use a data show projector connected to a computer? Okay, nobody wants to answer.
For English, for instance, if you're teaching dialogue to the children.
Yes.
Dialogue writing.
There's something like a video clip. A video clip comprises sound, photos, animated photo, right? So this whole life in front of you. You see something in action, right? You cannot do this by using an overhead projector, right? So they see now closer to real life situation. The closest thing to real life situation is the video. So whenever, especially in languages, when you teach any language, you need something vivid to help you express yourself, right? Becomes a model for the students to imitate. Yes, it's stronger than a recorded thing or a video that does not move, pictures, just still pictures. This is much stronger. Okay, what else?
Even for language, when you want the children to write a description,
Yeah.
and you show a scene.
You show
So
them
you
a
need to
scene.
show them the scene so that in order they describe it in words.
Yes, and the progression from one picture into another, into animated thing. Yes, this is very good. Also, when do you want to use it? You use it again to reflect as the screen of the computer and to start some interactive work, start interacting. In the video case, you're not interacting, right? You are a little bit passive. But when you represent a computer screen and they're using it, they interact, they select this, they search for this, they do this and that. So we use it very well when we when we make research. And again, when you use it in class for the purpose of research, you can say, okay, now we want to look for, okay, let's think of something that you're looking for. The names of the islands in Indonesia, or the languages that people speak in India. How many languages, by the way? How many languages people speak in India?
18.
18? I don't know. To the best of my knowledge, there are much more than this. You can verify me anyway. So now if we have an access to the internet, we would go and look for that. 2, 3 viewpoints, but now let's do this in the internet. What should we do? Now we have the internet in front of us. What should I do? What are the words that we're going to type? Somebody would come with an idea. Now this is the topic. We want to know how many languages. So what am I going to write on Google?
Languages spoken in India.
How many languages are spoken in India? Okay. Can I rephrase it by any other mean? Can I modify it? She said, how many languages are spoken?
Maximum number of languages spoken in India.
The maximum number of languages spoken in India. Okay. Can we do it in a different way? Languages in India. Because some languages, I assume, some languages may be written and not spoken. I assume that, right? Like Latin, for example. Okay, so you see now we are trying to teach, we're teaching the students how to make research. We begin with something very general, and we get an answer, okay. And they say that, okay, let's change the wording of that we put here, whether we see where we get different answers or not. So we start modifying this until we get the right answer. So we are giving them now the skill of how to research the internet. And this applies to anything else. Okay, I'll give you some time to think, and perhaps in the coming episode, we can continue doing this. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. This is your presenter, Mamdooh Nuruddin Muhammad.
Hush, little baby, pure and small, He created you, He created us all. Hush, little baby, don't you fear, we're never alone when Allah's so near. Hush, little baby, breathing so calm, He'll protect us all and keep us from harm.